Yes, what's going on,
El
Z?
around. This is what, number three? Number three. We're on
Episode
it.
3. Yeah, man. Let's go. Let's
And
go.
consistency is key. All right, let's not be too long. So I know we don't want to. We've been doing some long ones, and it's all about this one's going to be a nice swift one. We're just going to react straight away to Mikel Arteta's press conference ahead of the Aston Villa game tomorrow. Kick off from the Emirates at 7:45, I believe. Or it might be 8 o'clock. I'm not 100% sure. How are you feeling about that one there, Bon?
After the last performance, I'm not confident. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Welcome to the party, man. Welcome. This is it.
I'm hiding behind the couch, man. I don't know. Yeah, I was expecting 6 points from the last 2 games. Considering we've dropped 2 points. Villa at home, I probably think a point.
Yeah,
that's what I'm expecting.
A point.
Yeah.
I mean, they came to the Emirates last year, and let's face it, they gave us the works. They absolutely smashed us. I remember it was this time last year, 3-0 hammering. It was one of the worst performances. It was horrible. In the group chats, we had to keep our heads down, man. I'm just hoping.
Well,
we don't have nothing like that.
Villa seems to do this against us. They've got a good record at the Emirates Stadium. And if I remember correctly, last season they did a number on Liverpool as well, didn't they? Remember that too?
Yeah. I do.
So, they're a decent outfit, and they've obviously recruited cleverly in Martinez and Buendia coming in. So I think the fact that they have probably a fully fit squad going into this game makes me a bit nervous. And a couple of these players have points to prove, especially with links to Arsenal, with Buendia. Watkins as well has been linked to us. So, some of these guys might have a point to prove.
Yeah. And on top of that, they've got a fully fit squad, you just said. And in the press conference, Mikel Arteta mentioned one of the first questions he was asked was the latest fitness test of our squad. And he said we've got 2 or 3 players possibly struggling for this game, particularly Bukayo Saka, the star boy, after that common assault injury that only got a yellow card from David Dean. We can't call it. I was thinking about this morning about David Dean. We can't get to digress and go too far off left or right. But I just want to say this quick point. It's not David Dean's obviously a decent referee, but he's just not the best. He's like a low level sort of. He's a good referee, but at a low level.
Years back, in Wenger's last few years, he said that Mike Dean isn't a professional referee.
He's the best.
He said it's not a professional referee, and I agree with him. He's not a professional referee. You can't. I think sometimes when you get these referees that come to our stadium and we're a big team, we're playing a so-called smaller team. The refereeing decisions tend to go for the smaller team. To kind of try and balance it out. With these type of referees, especially with Mike Dean, there's no balance to his refereeing. It seems to be a lot more, geared towards the quote unquote smaller team. And if you look at, MacArthur, for example, he should have at least had a couple of yellow cards before that brutal attack on Saka. And then if he gave that yellow card, it would be a sending off, even though that tackle was a sending off offence in itself.
Yeah, and on top of that, Saka just does it the once and he gets the yellow card. But let's not go over that too much, Bon. What do you think of the star boy being missing? Saka, does he need it? Has he been playing well? Could the squad be used? It'd be useful for the squad to have a refresh. Who replaces him? All 3 questions.
That's the thing, though. It's tough because we're only playing 1 game a week. Obviously this week is a bit different with Monday and Friday, but we haven't got the contention of European football midweek. So I'm expecting these guys to be able to, physically be ready, once a week. So that's what I don't get about let's freshen them up. But I can understand with Saka because he's been involved, he's young, he's played a lot of football. But for me, man, if he's fit, you put him in because, he's producing a lot better than some of the understudies. You can argue, say, we can bring Martinelli and give him out on the left. But yeah, no, I mean, it is a concern that a couple of injuries. It's probably good that he hasn't named them because you don't want Villa to have the advantage of knowing which players potentially might be vulnerable, and then they get the odd tackles here and there during the game to aggravate their injuries further. So I like the fact that he's kept it quiet. But yeah, in terms of freshening up, I don't think you can change too much of that team that played. Maybe bring Lokonga in.
But who would you replace if Saka doesn't make it? Who comes in for him? Who would you bring in for him?
I think he probably goes with Pepe on the right side, and that's where Saka's been playing.
And then who goes on the left? Who goes on the left?
It's going to be Smith Rowe.
And then Odegaard behind. Do you stick with Odegaard or just full form?
Odegaard, I prefer to see him in that attacking midfield position rather than playing in that centre mid position. So that's what I think is his best role for the team.
So you personally wouldn't bring in Martinelli or Lacazette?
I'm thinking about what Mikel might play, and the fact that Martinelli's barely had any game time. It will be a surprise if he comes straight into the starting lineup. I think with Martinelli, you may see him come on the pitch earlier. But I'm just trying to think what Arteta might do rather than
what about Lacazette?
For me, I'd rather see Lacazette start.
Yeah. Who comes out if you've got Smith Rowe, Odegaard, and Pepe behind? Do you drop Aubameyang despite his? I think he scored 6 out of 8 games.
Yeah, Aubameyang's done well. I mean, the only reason why I'm looking at Lacazette to come in is just to give him a run out, just to freshen it up a little bit.
So you take Aubameyang out?
Yeah.
Okay. They asked him, Mikel Arteta was actually asked about Lacazette, and one of the things he was asked was, the hopes of him featuring more regularly. And, we know that Lacazette's contract's coming to an expiry now. And should we be playing players that are more going to be here for the longer term? And Mikel Arteta says, quotes were, what he's doing is he's had a good impact. He came on and did well against Brighton. And since I've been here, he's played a lot. He has really been important and will continue to be important. So Mikel Arteta has thrown his weight behind Lacazette there and defended him and said that despite his contract expiring, he still will be used and have an important presence in the Arsenal squad. How do you feel about that?
I don't believe what he's saying.
You don't believe it?
I don't believe that for a second because, he says one thing and does the other thing. So the fact that Laka hasn't really featured much for us this season, and he only came on, 10 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Against Palace. So if Arteta respected him enough, I would have thought he'd have given him at least half an hour minimum for him to actually make an impact on the game. So I think Mikel was just doing the press conference thing, trying to keep everyone happy, keeping his options open. But I do think he should have had more minutes on the pitch.
Yeah, I'm sort of on the fence. Like, if I'm the manager of the team, if you're not committed to the club, I've got one eye on the future at all times. So if I think you're not going on, I don't care really. I stop thinking about really caring about making you happy. If there's say, for example, winning 5-0. We're winning 5-0. I'm looking to bring in someone that's going to be here for the long haul rather than bringing Lacazette. But I understand he's still an Arsenal player and we haven't got much options up front with that pedigree, So I get what you're saying.
And one thing to consider as well is, Lacazette, Aubameyang is going to be unavailable for the African Cup of Nations. So he's going to need...
We're going to need him.
I mean...
Yeah.
So it's in his interest to keep him happy, I guess.
Yeah. Mikel Arteta was asked about on playing with the handbrake on, obviously against Crystal Palace. We went 1-0 up, and then the handbrake. We did a full handbrake.
Handbrake FP.
Seatbelt, air cushion in the face. It was full out handbrake business, and. What Mikel Arteta came back said after scoring the goal and hitting the level of performance we hit in the first part of the game, just make sure we go into that second goal and continue to play with that same fluidity. there's the same intention that we are going to start to defend something that we've earned, because the game is a really long, and we have to do that for longer periods of the game. What do you think of that comment?
Yeah, I think it's a fair statement, and that's been kind of our Achilles' heel. When we take the lead, we just put the handbrake on, we just not play. And we've seen signs of that when we've taken the lead in previous games. So it's probably a mixture of the immaturity that we have in the team itself. They don't know how to, manage certain conditions within the game when we're under pressure. You can't slow the game down, regroup, and then again, you have to go back to leaders on the pitch. When you see that there's a tide turning, then one of your leaders has to be either barking back at the manager, get some instructions of what to do in the situation, or leading on the pitch by instructing the players. So yeah, I think there's some truth in what you're saying, but I would like to see that practiced out on the pitch rather than it being a weekly thing where it says the same thing all the time. You need to learn from these mistakes and all that stuff there. I want to see us actually start implementing those things on the pitch.
Yeah, I agree. Going back to Lacazette, they actually went into the press conference, spent a little bit of a longer time on Lacazette, and they started to really probe into, first of all, they spoke about the reception he received when he came on against Palace, and Arteta just quickly said that I think he's able to transmit the energy. He came into the game with energy, and it transmitted to the fans. And we saw him go like that when they went off for a corner, and the fans responded. It started to come a bit loud because it was like very quiet on the day. I remember watching on the TV, and I'm thinking, this is a silent stadium. It didn't seem to have much atmosphere. But what interestingly they went into is on Lacazette's contract running down. And he said, it's the situation we have to accept it. I cannot ask anything of the player, the way we're dealing with that situation. And it's not an individual situation. It's because it's had a knock-off effect as others we've had to deal with in the past. And we have to see what the best option will be for everyone at the end of the season. So that doesn't really sound to me like he's throwing his weight in giving Lacazette a new contract. That doesn't sound like he wants to give Lacazette a new contract. For example, for other players, he goes, we want him to stay, we want him to be an art. When it came to Florence Balogun, he was all out saying we wanted to keep Balogun and we're doing everything we can. He's but with this one, he's really sitting on the fence. So it seems to me like Lacazette won't be here next year. What do you think?
I have to agree. I think, the writing's on the wall for Lacazette, and if you were in Lacazette's position, at his age, you're going to want to play week in, week out. Yeah. And you can imagine there'll be a lot of clubs interested in him come January, where he can sign that through contract. So, why is he going to want to stay at Arsenal on the bench?
Yeah.
So, at the same time, managers, I don't think Arsenal's offering a contract either, as far as I know.
Yeah. He actually went on to say that if it was up to him, would Laka stay? And he just said, well, he's our player, and I treat him like any other player. Not because he has a year left or doesn't have a year left. I'm not going to treat him differently, and that's what he deserves. So I think it's the writings on the wall for Lacazette. Going on to the next part, which was quite interesting, Jack Wilshere did say that Kieran Tierney was the fastest player at the club, and he was asked about that. And he actually goes, yes, well, depending on the test, but Kieran Tierney is for sure one of the quickest, depending on the distances and the different types of measurements that you want to take. But for sure, he is one of the fastest, which is strange because when we was watching the game against Crystal Palace, he just didn't want to take the full back on, like with his pace and his speed. And I found that quite interesting.
Yeah, Tierney's a tricky one because I don't think he started the season well. Let's be real. And I think as well, I think as well that it wasn't just on the left side; it was on the right as well, where we saw Tommy his first reaction was to play it back, rather than going forward.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it must be some kind of instructions, and possibly on Tierney's side, I think he's injured, or he might be carrying something.
Yeah, I've been thinking that. He's not been himself this year, has he?
No.
Yeah, well, let's fly through, but we're not going to take too long. It's been 15 minutes already, so we're going to quickly fly through the next bit. He went on to talk about James McArthur's, why he wasn't sent off, and whether there's been an explanation. He goes, no, we had communication with the referees and the association to try and explain why they did not intervene in that action. The explanation we had at the start of the season is that they would, when there's an obvious error there, they need to take action, and they didn't. These actions determine a football match and the result, and for me, it's unacceptable. And you've got to kind of agree. Like, VAR is used; it's obviously used. It's not a questionable thing. It's obviously used differently when it comes to Arsenal. I've seen many occasions on other games where it goes to VAR, and for us, it doesn't seem to go to VAR on many occasions. But this week was one of the most blatant ones. How do you feel about that, Bob?
Yeah, it seems to be one of those things that happens every season with VAR. And we seem to be involved in a lot of these contentious decisions. But I think at the same time, it happens with a lot of other teams. So yeah, I wouldn't want to just say, an Arsenal thing. We're just a consequence of poor referees in our league. You know, so what can you say?
Yeah.
What can you say?
He was then the next interesting point. He did speak about on being asked to play on Friday and playing on Monday. He goes, it's strange. And when we have no European football, it's difficult to understand, but it is what it is, which is fair enough. We don't want to make no excuses going early. It's 4 days, 5 days recovery with the squad we have. I don't want to hear that as an excuse. But the next interesting point, he went on to talk about the sale of Emi Martinez and the arrival of Ramsdale. And he said, we made the decisions with the best possible intentions and looking for the best interest of the club. But as well, it was a very strong participant. It was Emi who deserves all the credit for the amount of time he spent at the football club. And don't forget that he had a different spells in his career, and he got to his career when under me, he started to play in important games, and he did extremely well. His ambition, his belief, and where he wants to take his career was very different, and it was urgent to him because he was so patient for so long. And I'm really happy that he's doing well. He's a great keeper. I played with him, I managed him, and he has tremendous personality and he's showing that Aston Villa and the national team. I can say that I am happy for him. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think you can't really say anything else. You know, you got to big him up before you play him, right? Don't
put fire in the belly.
Exactly. I mean, Emi's been a good servant to Arsenal, and he's one of the fan favourites before he left. And yeah, it's good to give him his due respect. However, we need to move on from him now. We've got Ramsdale, who's potentially our future goalkeeper now for many years. So that, for me now, that's moved on, and it hurt when we sold him, because I preferred him to Leno. Based on the fact that he's got so much more character, so much authority about him as a goalkeeper, and the fact that he came through. He's done his thing in the reserve team, and then I thought he deserved to kind of keep his number one spot. And then it was up to Leno to kind of wrestle that back off of him. If he wasn't, given those assurances, he moved on. We needed the money at the time, So yeah, let's call it for what it is. It's doing well. We could obviously, we can do with him between the sticks now.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we've got to move on from him now.
Well, the next question was he wanted the journalist wanted to compare Leno to Ramsdale, And he actually says we got really two fantastic goalkeepers, and we have another 2 academy players behind them. And I think that's a position that we're really strong at the moment. And that's how he backed that one up. But the last question of the press conference, and this is where the last point we'll finish on, is on playing 4-3-3 and whether he needs to pick and choose when to use it. He responded by saying, if we play 4-3-3, the way we played the first 20 minutes and we win the games, but if we start to play the way we played the following 20 minutes, it doesn't work because, again, that is a transition game and we don't have players to do that. When we play in that formation, the play in the last 20 minutes is something that we have done a lot as well. But it works because we generated what we wanted. We have to be flexible and we have to play players in their strengths and when they are not playing. I agree. I think it was more of a mental thing because the way we started the game against Crystal Palace, we just stopped for some reason. If we kept that level, I think it would have been a totally different game.
I don't know for me, man. For me, probably a bit of both. The psychology of the players when taking the lead is something that they need to obviously look at in more detail and find out why they seem to be, so negative and so keen to just relinquish possession. Because if you look at the likes of Man City, their form of defending is keeping the ball.
Yeah.
Whereas for us, we just seem to just relinquish possession, let the other team have all the play, they get confident, and then they're able to build from that. But no, for me, when you look at the goals that are conceded, okay, fair enough, they're a mistake. But you can argue that Partey in the middle on his own again, overrun. The fact that Pepe on one side, Smith Rowe on the other side didn't really play off. So there was no kind of attacking intent. There wasn't anyone for Tierney to hit or Tommy to hit on the other side. And every time our forwards had the ball, they weren't, their body position was always looking back. So I think for me that's more of a tactical thing. And I'd have to look at that formation, whether it's working or not, because 20 minutes is a small window, isn't it? You've got a 90-minute game, you've got to be able to play. Sometimes you can during the game. So if it's not working, then you need to be able to change it up a bit. So there's some truth to what you're saying, but at the same time, I think that he himself can adapt to in-game situations and make changes with regards to the formation if it's not working, rather than just saying let's play through it and then eventually it's going to take good.
You know what? There's something I don't really like about our club at the moment. When we get into attacking positions, I'm not 100% impressed with the movement, the way our actual movement, like in the final third. I don't think there's enough good penetrating runs or runs to move defenders and get them out of shape or unorganised.
It's too slow, isn't it?
I was watching Man United yesterday, them against Atlanta. I know it was a frantic game and they were chasing the game, but some of their play where they just pass it into one man just goes for a deep run, the runner has to go with him. Then another one, the runner has to go. Now all of a sudden it frees up spaces in different areas and they keep doing it. With us, it's pass. And it's just too rigid, I think at times. I would want to see a little bit more flow, but I want us to attack in a way where we don't set ourselves up to fail in the counter attack. But I still want to see more movement and give teams more to worry about. It seems like teams can just set up their camp and just stand there, and it's so easy to mark because there's not much to worry about in terms of movement, players coming in to pop it off. I don't know, maybe it's me. I see it sometimes, but I just don't feel like I see it enough.
Yeah, it's a style of play, isn't it? It's a style of play that we currently have, and I think that's what a lot of fans are frustrated with, is that you want to see those kind of dynamic movements between the players.
Yeah.
And I was watching the Champions League as well this week and looking at the levels that they have. I mean, it just shows how far back we are as a club. And it's worrying because, like you say, there should be those styles of play. The styles of play that we saw Crystal Palace playing or, Brighton playing. These are the things that we should be at least trying to maintain for a minimum of 45 minutes at least. talk about 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there. It's not really good enough for a team like Arsenal. And I think at this stage, with 8 games played, we should be seeing a lot more patterns in our play to kind of move players around. And for me, I agree with you. I think that we're way too slow in our passing. It allows the teams to get set. I was watching a Crystal Palace game, and like the reason why a lot of fans were getting frustrated was that there were clearly opportunities for our fullbacks to play in someone in a forward position with space, but then they chose to go back play the safe ball back into midfield.
Yeah, they didn't trust. I think sometimes they're looking at it and think, right, this man, is he going to lose the ball? They didn't trust it.
I'll have to argue, man. The players that we have in our team should be good enough to receive possession under pressure.
But are they, though? When you look at Aubameyang, sometimes his heart.
I'm not talking about Aubameyang. I'm talking about on our width, outside midfield.
But then even yourself, you say. If you're talking about Tommy, you might be thinking that Pepe's in front of him, and you say that his first touch worried.
Possibly.
I personally, I'm not saying he's got a bad touch, but I just say. But all right, so you said you think it's going to be a draw tomorrow, yeah, Bon? Or is that what you think, or is that what you're hoping for?
That's what I'm hoping for, really. I'm a bit worried about that game because Villa got a good they do well.
I'm laughing because it seems like such a long time when we was like, this is 6 points.
Yeah. Sorry, but yeah, no, that was my initial thought. 6 points. But yeah, no, I think a point would be good enough.
All right, just to wrap it up we're going to wrap it up with the last point then. Give me your score prediction, and we're going to finish the stream here. Yeah, what's your score prediction?
I think it's going to be 1-0
to Villa.
1-0 to Palace.
To Villa.
Aston Villa. Yeah. I think it's going to be probably 1-0. I just. I'm thinking of some glimmer of hope, man, but I think either Villa win or we might get a draw out of that game.
I'm going to go with I actually feel like Villa. I don't know. It depends if Arteta can get a reaction. But I think that Villa play 3 at the back. Do they? Yeah, I feel like.
I'm not sure, but I do think the Villa defense can be got at. I don't trust their defense at all. But at the same time, I know that we can be quite easy to defend against, and I think that's the worry. I think that the pace that Watkins have up front, the balls coming in from behind from Watkins, McGinn, he's been incredible shooting from all kinds of distances. Is going to keep us on our toes. So man, I'm not confident about that game, but hopefully I could be proven.
So you're going 1-0 Villa.
I'm going to stick with 1-1.
I can't. I don't know. Can I get one more thing from you before you go, Bon?
Yeah, go on.
Can I okay, I'm gonna say it's a Villa win as well. Can I just get your starting lineup just before you run through who you want to start?
Pretty easy, really, because the new defence, I go for Ramsdale on goal, Tierney on the left. I go for Gabriel, Ben White partnership. Wasn't sure about Tommy whether to give him a break, but I'll keep him in there. I'm tempted to kind of take him out, maybe put Ainsley at right back, but I'll stick with Tommy. And then Partey in that 6.
Yeah.
Lokonga next to him, and then I want to see Pepe on the left. I want to see Pepe on the left and Smith Rowe on the other side, and then Martin Odegaard up top. And then for me, the first one to come on will be Aubameyang.
Who did you go? Wait, who went on the right?
I'm going to go with Smith Rowe on the right.
Okay, and who and Odegaard and who up top?
I'm going to go for Lacazette up top.
All right. I'm going to go for in goal. I'm going to go for Ramsdale. Right back, I'm going to stick with Tommy. Although Cedric, I'm tempted to put in there, but he hasn't played for a long time, so I don't know what his fitness is like. Centre backs, same centre backs, White and Gabriel. That's all we got in my eyes. Left back, I was tempted to put Tavares, but I know that they got some tricky players on the wings. Villa, so I don't really want to throw him in that sort of game where they got really good winners. So I'm going to keep him there. Centre midfield, I'm going to go for Ainsley Niles, and I'm going to go for Thomas Partey in the pivots. On the left hand side, I am going to go for Emil Smith Rowe. On the left hand side, in fact, I'm going to go for Pepe. On the right hand side, I'm going to go for. No, did I say left side? Left side, I said left side Martinelli. Right side, I'm going to go for Nicolas Pepe. This is his last chance in my eyes. In fact, no. Nicolas Pepe's coming out of the team. I'm going to put Emil Smith Rowe, and then I'm going to put Lacazette in the hole, and I'm going to put Aubameyang up top.
So
No. In fact, I can't do that. I can't have. That's too offensive, isn't it? That's way too offensive. I'm gonna have to put. I'm gonna put Odegaard on the right. And put Odegaard on the right, and then I'm gonna put. Still have Lacazette, and I'm gonna put Martinelli on the left.
Okay, and then you have Aubameyang up top.
Aubameyang up top with Lacazette just in behind. Martinelli's a little bit more attacking. Odegaard's got to do that 50-50 role, but I want his work rate up and down, helping out midfield. Martinelli, I know, is going to put in a shift as well.
Yeah, I think it's not a bad lineup. The only thing I'll probably say about that lineup is like how you then feed the strikers. You got Odegaard on the right hand side trying to thread those balls in, but then from midfield you've got Partey and Smith, not Smith Rowe.
By the way, Bob, we just got our first comment. Someone called Scott Vickers said Arsenal going to win. Oi,
yeah, I like that positivity, man.
I don't know why he left, but big up himself. So yeah, say that last little point.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that's not a bad team. But for me, I worry that we won't have the possession-based football that we need with that midfield because I don't rate Ainsley in terms of his passing at all. Positional play can be questionable, but his attitude is always right. Maybe him there to protect Partey and then allow Partey to kind of play them intricate passes up to the forward line. It's not a bad shout. I did also think about Cedric on the right. But the only reason I didn't go for Cedric is because I think Ainsley's more athletic, which is why I thought put Ainsley on the right. He can offer us that, athleticism, bomb forward, bomb beyond the man, and have the pace to get back as well. But yeah, no, it's not a bad line for sure.
All right, well, let's wrap it there then, man. Big up ourselves. That's our first viewer as well, so that was a big step. He's gone now, but yeah.
I was going to say, what's your predictions, man? It'd be good to get
all right, my predictions is, to be honest, Bonnie, we just don't know what Arsenal's going to turn up. Arteta can get a reaction from the team. He can get reactions from the team, and we do expect, we got big players in the squad that need to learn, that will learn. Was worried that the squad looked a bit jaded. So I'm going to go with, if they're playing three at the back, I really can't see us win. I'm not going to stick with what Scott said. I can't see a win at the moment. Something's telling me there's a chance, but.
Yeah, I want us to win. Let's not get it twisted. I'm an Arsenal fan. I want us to win, but from what I've seen, I think it's very hard for that to happen.
I can see us. It depends. I know in the first 5 minutes, if we get a reaction from the squad, my head tells me Villa, but my heart is saying that Arsenal's going to react. So I'll go with a 1-0 Villa. But if we can get a reaction, let's keep it going. Yeah, let's do that. Let that be a thing before the game.
All right, man.
All right, boy. Take it easy, bro.
Okay, so I'll speak to you. Bye.